as many of you know, working with replicants has been a huge pain in your neck. And by replicants, those are what they were called in the team site template the freeform link sections. And that's those pages that had the links at the top, and you click down into the content, and you cut back to the top links. If anybody's had to edit one of those or create a brand new one of those, you just know they're a pain in the posterior to deal with. So what we've done is we've completely redesigned how they function, and we will be releasing that change this Saturday, probably afternoon or evening, and able to authors on any time after that. So Monday morning when you roll into the office, if you have to edit a page, you'll be using this new engine. And it's called Blade Runner, and extra bonus points to anybody who gets the reference. I suggest you look into Harrison Ford movies and do your research there. What we're going to be covering is what you should be able to do by the time you get out of training is you should be able to understand how to edit an existing page, the new layout. You should understand how to create new pages with the new layout. And one of the things that the new layout does is it automatically takes your content and its old HTML structure and tries to convert it into the new structure. And we're going to go over here in a minute how to quality assure and control that conversion process when you get the notice that it's taken place. And if you'll know who to contact if there is an error. Just go ahead and show you the page in action. What was it called again? In the freeform link sections, or as we call it in SharePoint, they're called the replicant page. And again, it's just these pages with the links at the top and the back to the top links. And anybody that's authored these things know that they're a pain in the neck to deal with, and you'll probably just hear me say that over and over. Hopefully, after we roll this out on Saturday, and if you're editing pages after that point, you're going to find this process a whole lot easier. And what you would do is we're going to go over first how you would edit an existing page, a replicant page you already have. And you do it just like you normally would. You would log in to that page in authoring, which would be authoring CMS Oregon egov.com/ whatever the page address is. And you would click the edit button. If this is the first time the page has ever been opened with the new engine, with the new page layout, you're going to get this warning right here, or this notice. And it's going to tell you to carefully compare your content to what it should be. And what I suggest doing is taking a fresh copy of that page and opening it in a new tab, and then you can scroll down, and we've got two modes, preview mode and edit mode, and we'll go over those in a second. But if you'll scroll down into preview mode right here and compare it to what you're seeing live page, your sections should look pretty much the same. You shouldn't have any that's rendering larger or just plain weird. You shouldn't have any text that's missing. If everything looks okay, means you're ready to start editing. And if that's the case, you can clicking the X, and the next time you edit this page, you'll never see that message again. And it only pops up once for every time you're editing a page that's from the legacy system into the new system for the first time. If you do see an issue, that means something was wrong with the HTML that was there already, which is probably not too uncommon an occurrence with dealing with the old replicant pages. In that case, contact the Oregon.gov help desk, and we will manually migrate your page, the content of your page over to the new format ourselves. Okay, so when you get to this point, you see this window. Make sure your content has been migrated over properly. What you do is you discard your check-in by going to your ribbon, clicking the down button under check-in, click discard checkout, and then contact the Oregon.gov help desk. Send us the URL, and we'll bring the page over ourselves. And we'll probably have to do a handful of these by hand, but I'm guessing by far the vast majority are just going to be done automatically, and it'll be no issue for you at all. So, as I was saying, you load the page very first time. Should, after a few seconds, get the message. If everything's good, you can dismiss this message. You'll never see it again. And one of the first things you will notice is things look a lot different than they used to look when you would edit a replicant page. For one thing, when you mouse over your header items, you now get this little context menu that pops up. You've got a brand new Add New Item button here, and you'll have blue outline this window called Preview Mode. Now you'll notice when I click into Preview Mode, I really can't edit any of that text. There's nothing there that's editable. Preview Mode is just that. It's just what your page is going to look like. We've changed how you edit the different sections now by you edit them one at a time. And we'll get into how to do that in a minute. But basically all you can do in preview mode is see what your rendered content is going to look like. If you'll notice as I was talking about the header items, you'll notice as you mouse over you get the context menu. There's also some new functionality that's been added in that if you see items in your list and you want to change the order of them, for instance, you'll notice right here, miscellaneous questions. Suppose I want that at the bottom of the list. You'll scroll down, you'll find your miscellaneous questions are right here somewhere in the middle. Well, you used to have to be able to cut that HTML out properly and paste it in the right spot. You don't have to do that anymore. On your item, drag it to the bottom of your list, drop it, and then when you scroll down to the bottom of your list, you'll see miscellaneous questions has moved for you. So control the order of whatever your items on the page are going to be just by dragging and dropping. You'll see, like right here, that's going to be a lot easier for you guys. When you need to add a new item, like, back in the old day, you would have to go up into Insert, Reusable Content, grab the replicant piece, and add it in. You don't do that anymore. We have a button dedicated just to that. Click Add New Item, and you'll notice that the Edit Mode box the Preview Mode box is replaced with an Edit Mode box. And this Edit Mode box, which has the green background border, the actual editable box. And you can do things like come in and change your header, add new content,
and that's just totally right. You don't care if you know.
And at this point, it's just like editing any other normal SharePoint page. If you need to insert a link, all your ribbon tools are available to you, and it works just like you would expect. And if you decide you don't want to add an item, you can click Cancel. You'll get prompted, "Are you sure?" Because if you cancel and throw it away, all your changes are gone. If you have an issue with something happened in the editing that you just want to start over, if you click Reset, you also get prompted. And if you click Reset, you just get the basic template back and you get to start all over. But suppose your item is good, you click Save Item, and you'll notice it's edited on right here at the very end. And if you need to change the order of it, suppose I wanted this to be my first item, you can just drag it and drop it right up to the top, and there it is. Before I go any further, I just want to give you a couple of tips about adding new items. First thing, a lot of people like to put their cursor in and do a lot of backspacing. We have set it up for you. Let me reset that just so you can see what I'm talking about. We've set it up on some browsers. Internet Explorer is going to be a little picky. You might not have this same exact behavior. On some browsers, you can click right in, and it just drops your cursor right in, and all you have to do is start typing. And if you're going to replace content, I would suggest don't just go in and start backing up like that. if you're never backspace past the first item, because you tend to lose the HTML that's underneath, and that's going to be kind of important. So if you have to ever replace something starting with the first item, just highlight the whole thing. Save the item. Let's say I want that to be my second item. Bam, there it is. And hopefully you're going to find that process a whole lot easier than having to go in into the ribbon and find the reusable HTML and drop it in just the right table cell. And if you're wrong, your text is all blown out of proportion. Or if you're actually putting a table in, then next thing you know, you've confused SharePoint's editor, and it doesn't know which table you're talking about. And people curse and they throw things and they come and try to chase us out of town with pitchforks and torches. And we don't like that. We like Oregon. We want to stay here. So that's pretty much the basics for adding a new item and rearranging the order. If you need to edit an existing item, you'll notice there's and when you click Edit, it drops you down into Edit mode. You'll see the content for just that section appear. Let me cancel out, and I'll pick one. Actually, we pick miscellaneous questions from the bottom. Notice how miscellaneous questions have all this content associated with it, but it's in the flow of the rest. Let's choose winter road maintenance questions instead. The content's there, but it's all mixed up with the rest of the items, and sometimes editing that can be a pain. In the new system, go edit, and we give you just that section to edit. So if you needed to add text, update things, content, it's just that one piece you're dealing with at this point. If you decide you don't want to save your changes, you can click Cancel, click OK, everything's discarded, but keep in mind that that's a permanent discarding. There's no way to get it. You have to go and recreate that content over if you do that. If you change your mind, cancel, leaves everything as it is. Save item, adds it in. You'll notice that it didn't change the order in which it appears that if it's an existing item. It just adds the new content in, and it's instantaneous. You'll scroll down here and you notice there's my new header, there's my new content. So one other thing though about to avoid confusion, like when you create a new item and you click this Save Item, I just want to be clear that that's not saving the page. That's saving the item that you're editing currently, and you'll see that anytime you're in edit mode, you'll have this green save. If you need to actually edit, that's still done either with this button up here in the ribbon or by clicking the page, and then you've got either save and close, save and keep editing, or just stop editing entirely, which just throws everything back out. And cancel that, I'm sure. Really, the only thing left with editing an existing page is if you want to delete an item. And just to caution you, deletion is permanent. There's no way to recover it once you've checked in your changes, unless you roll back to a previous version of your page. So make sure if you're going to delete one of these sections, especially if it's something that has a lot of content, you spend a lot of time authoring, make sure that it's something you really want to do. Button. And it's just that easy to remove the sections. But let me add one more new item.
So since saving the page and saving the replicant part are different things,
right?
If you add a replicant and save it, do you still have to publish that change on the page to make it go live?
You do, and that's what I was going to show right now.
Okay.
Was that a question from the gallery? Or was that from Ms. Sharon-Sperry?
Oh. That was strictly peanut gallery.
That was strictly peanut gallery. So anyway, you'll see that at this test page we're playing with on staging, I've added a new item, save and close. Now it actually shows up on the actual page, and if I want to, I can. From this point on, it's just like the normal process of checking your page in or publishing your page. Any questions up to that point on editing an existing page? And the question was, when editing content, can you access HTML? And the answer is yes, as long as you're in edit mode. If you're in preview mode, you don't have access to any of that HTML. But if you want to add HTML for an individual item, to edit mode, click in somewhere into the editing window, and then up in the ribbon under the Format Text tools, over here all the way to the right is the HTML tool edit source, and it's just like you would normally. And you'll notice the content is the HTML is there, so you can directly edit HTML for an item if you want. The question was, the undo key does not seem to work.
For deleted section.
Yes, deletion is permanent. So once you delete, it's wiped out of memory, and there's no undo for that. So yes, be sure before you delete something that you make that it's something you want to delete. If you accidentally delete something, don't save and close and check in and then call us to fix it, because we really can't retrieve it that easily and not lose all your changes. What I would suggest you do is, if you accidentally delete something, discard your checkout and just start over, because that starts you fresh from where you started when you started your editing session. I've had a request to go full screen. Does that make things a little easier for everybody to see? Just to summarize again, here is your menus, your header items with the menus when you mouse over them to edit the individual pieces. You control by drag and drop. Adding a new item, hopefully now easy. Adding items, also hopefully now easy. And that's pretty much it for how you edit an existing page. The critical thing is, when you edit an old page with the new page layout for the first time and you get that yellow window, make sure your content came over correctly. If it doesn't come over correctly, discard your checkout, call us, and we'll get it into the right format so you can get back to editing. And I'm hoping that there's not going to be too many of those instances. They didn't seem to pop up at all in the beta testing for this. So, anything else? If not, we could start talking about how to create a brand new replicant page, which is almost tons easier than the editing.
Hey, Bryce.
Yes.
When I've added new replicants, I've had problems with large spaces at the bottom under the back to the top.
Right.
It doesn't matter how much I delete or fix the HTML, it just stays there, it won't go away. Will this create that with the new replicants?
Part of that problem was because everything was in a table layout, and there were tables within tables, and sometimes you drop HTML in the wrong place, the sun's in your eyes, who knows why. That shouldn't be a problem with these new layouts. The back to the top code is completely hidden from the process of editing. So it's generated automatically for your content before it's uploaded. So all you're worried about is this title and this main section of content right here. This stuff here, we do for you on the fly. So hopefully that should take care of your spacing issues and, well, this one, like where you get the weird issues where this header looks like it's right up underneath here, or sometimes you get, like you were saying, like huge space between these two items, and then you just can't seem to figure out how to get it out of there. Hopefully we've removed that as a problem for you. That's HTML that's never going to be exposed to the authoring process, so it shouldn't be something that happens anymore. And if it's something that exists now, this might actually clean it up when you convert over to the new template. The page layout. Creating a new page layout. If anybody's ever watched the training videos, you know the proper way to create a new page is to go to the Pages document library in the site that you want to create your page. So we're going to go, just put in ComCrow here, and we're going to go to our ribbon, new page, new Oregon V3 replicant, full name, like test page. Make sure replicant here is selected. And then we'll have our new page right here. When everything loads, we can go to that page and edit. And once you log into the page to edit, it's almost exactly like your existing content, like when you're editing an existing content page, except that this is a brand new, brand spanking new page, so it doesn't have to worry about basically bringing your. You get this fresh, empty page to start working with. You'll notice there's no headers here yet because you haven't added anything to add new items. And you can just keep adding items until you have all your content entered. Of course, your content is going to be much more complicated than what I'm entering. Order it in whichever order you want them. Give it the old preview. Don't like something on there, want it deleted, need to edit something. Notice I left out the actual content. I can come in here and edit. And you're good to go. You save and close, publish, and you've got a brand new page. And that's how easy it is, hopefully now, to actually use the create a replicant, the new engine. And ladies and gentlemen, that's really all I've got to show you. How to get to the preview of the page again. When you edit a page, it naturally loads in preview mode. It'll tell you right here as well. Or are we talking about to compare it to another page? Are we talking about the first time you load and how to compare is loaded with the new engine to what's on your live site to make sure everything came over all right? Preview mode. Just so I understand the question better. So after editing a section. Okay. Suppose I've gone in and edited a section and you see right here it says edit mode. Anytime you save an item or cancel out of edit mode, you're automatically dropped back into preview mode, so that's done for you. You get into edit mode either by adding a new item or editing an existing item. That's the two main ways, the two only ways to actually get into edit mode to where you can actually edit content. Other than that, you're always in preview mode by default. Your question?
Yes. And is it possible for them to have a paragraph, introductory paragraph toward the top of the page, specifically under the page header and before the list of links taking you to sections?
That functionality wasn't in the old template, it's been built into the new template. So the question was, in case anybody didn't hear, let me save out of here just so I can use this page for an example. This area in here, can you have an introductory paragraph? In the old Replicant, that wasn't necessarily possible. If it's something that everybody feels they need, we might be able to, well, I might be able to figure out something in an update for a later version of this. You can have an editable region that doesn't have a header that appears at the top. If that's something you feel like you need, just contact our help desk, and if we get enough feature requests for it, we'll certainly upgrade version 2.0 to include that functionality.
There's two requests to go over what happens with the migration, what do they have to do, what are they expecting when they open it after this new layout takes place. They were late getting audio, so.
Okay. The question was, like, when you first load an existing replicant page, starting Monday or whenever you're editing your content, if you're a real go-getter and you start editing on Sunday, what happens? What do you look for? Well, I just happen to have a test page here that I've been using. This is where I've been doing all my testing. So here we've got a replicant page, and I'm just going to take a quick look at the HTML to make sure that it's never been converted over. There we are. All right. Okay. When you click Edit, it should take a few minutes, and you'll see you get this notice here that says, important, we've just attempted to do some really cool stuff behind the scenes so you don't have to. Could you please check your content, sure that it looks and all your content's there, and then it looks identical to what you're expecting. What I've suggested is you take and look at the live page. It's going to be staging apps.oregon.gov/ whatever everything else was. Open that in a new tab or window, and then come back and just compare items in preview mode. And if you missed it, if you're late getting to the game here, preview mode, all it is it's just what it says. It's what your content is going to look like. This is not an editable region when it's in preview mode. Preview mode has the blue border and says preview mode at the top. So take what's in preview mode, and this window zoomed in much more than this window, so that's where that font size difference is coming from. Matter of fact, let me just make it match so we can kind of look at like for like. I need to go one more. Is that too much? Is that too much? That's close enough. And just make sure that this content here matches this content here for how it's supposed to look, and make sure that all your content's there. It's very possible that, like, if you've created a new replicant page in the old system, that you've dropped your HTML into the wrong table cell, it might be missing when you get to this point. And if that's the case, that's one of those things we help you migrate. But if everything looks good, you click the X, you go ahead, start editing your replicant page, and you'll never be confronted with this message again. It's just the very first time you load it using the new page layout. If everything doesn't look good, if something looks amiss, if you think the fonts are off, if there's missing content, go to check-in, discard your checkout, and then copy the URL and send it to the Oregon.gov help desk, and we will manually migrate the HTML from your page into the new system, and then we'll check it back in, and you can go and have your way with it. But yeah, just make sure that you compare. You're very careful if you see that window to make sure that your content came over correctly. And if it's a short page, you may not have to go through that two-window process. But for long content, which a lot of these things typically are, I recommend it just to be safe. It keeps you from having to roll back to a previous version if something accidentally didn't come over, and any updates you may have made, editing would be lost from new editing on. Did that answer your question?
We have a request for a quick repeat of how to create a new page.
New page? Okay, that's easy. Again, go to the site there's a video for like just creating pages in general. If you need a refresher, there's a video out on GovSpace under the training session. But the quick and dirty is you go to the site you want to create your page. In this case, let's just start from scratch. Suppose I'm working for ODOT, and Jesse would like me to create a page under the Citizens Representative Office. So I would go to the Citizens Representative Office site. I would go to View All Site Content. You could also go to Manage Site Content, whichever you prefer. But as long as you get to the Pages Document Library, this is where you where you create new pages. And in the toolbar, or in the ribbon, under New Document, choose Oregon V3 Replicant, just like you would in the old system. And then you give it a cool name. And because I'm unimaginative with my names, I'm going to call this Bryce Test 2. If you want to give it a description, you can. Doesn't show up anywhere except right here. Make sure the Oregon V3 Replicant is chosen. It should. If it doesn't, something's gone horribly wrong. Click Create. That would be new, wouldn't it? And then you'll notice I've got the page right here. I can then go to that page, and then I can start editing it. and it's brand spanking new. I don't have to worry about any old content having to be migrated over. I'm just going to start using the new engine right off the bat, and so I can add new content and go crazy. Of course, I assume you would be adding actual content. You can do it from this point on. It's just like anything you would do when we talked about editing an existing page. You click the edit menu to get in to edit your content. Delete, just like you normally would. And when you're done, save, close, publish. Oh, I did want to mention that when you're editing the page, there is a choice down here for the number of replicant columns. It will take a number between 1 and 3. If you enter less than 1, it'll default to 1. If you enter a number greater than 3, it'll default to 3. But that determines when you save the page how many columns your links appear in. So let me go back in. Suppose I wanted a 3-column page. Let me add just 1/3 item. You'll notice these links are always in order, and we did that deliberately. This is always going to be in 1 column because we figured it would just be easier to tell what order your content is in if it matches what's appearing on the page. So we left that in 1 column, but when you save and close, you'll notice where I chose 3 columns, you've got your header. Your headers are now in 3 columns. So if you have a lot of items and you want to break it down into 2 or 3 columns, you can do that now, and then you've got.
Be a good place for this question. Minimum would be 1, but is there a maximum that you can have on a given page?
Minimum is definitely 1. You can have as many as you want, but think about please think about the usability of your customers. You don't want to have 1,000. I have actually seen a replicant page with somewhere near 1,000 links on it. I will not rat out who that is, but if you're on the phone call right now, you know who you are. Don't do that. It's a nightmare for a user to use. You could have as many as you need. Let's put it that way. And let's hope you don't need 1,000. Anything else? How are we doing so far?
Yeah, this is Lori. You had mentioned earlier something about issues with Internet Explorer. What might we expect?
This is one of the
use a different engine.
A tool that's going to work better in a third-party browser other than Internet Explorer, and it's not that Internet Explorer is going to be unusable. It's just that Internet Explorer is going to do some annoying things because there's some behavior built into SharePoint that we can't make go away. Like when you go in and edit a page in SharePoint, especially on a long page, in Internet Explorer, you'll notice the page tries to hop down to where it thinks you want to edit. So you're going to see the page jump around like that a little bit before it settles down and you can start editing. That's one of the little annoyances you're going to have in Internet Explorer. The other one is like if you want to go in, say I want to change this header, I'm using Chrome right here. It's 1 click and I can start typing. In Internet Explorer, you've got to double click, and sometimes it's easy to accidentally triple click or delete something. That isn't necessarily a bug because of the replicants. That's just something that annoys me about Internet Explorer.
Oh, okay.
In Internet Explorer 7, let me cancel out of editing this item. When you mouse over the menus, you'll see this will be indented all the way over here, so it's going to make your menus, these items, pop over a little bit more than they normally would here. We do a slight indentation in more modern browsers, but in Internet Explorer 7 messes that up a bit and really scoots it over. It's just an annoyance, but it's still totally usable. Everything should function just as well here in Internet Explorer as it does in another browser. It's just slightly less annoying in another browser.
All right, thank you.
You're welcome. Any other questions?
Is this just for the Oregon v3 Replicant? Is this not going to replace the Oregon v3 Standard? Because we have several pages that are different.
The V3 Standard is a completely different template. If you see this structure and it's in a V3 stand, like the links at the top and the headers in the back at the top, if it's in a V3 Standard, it's been built manually rather than by the template or the page layout. And the replicants came from an old team site template that was built by HP to do basically that automatically for you, where you enter the item in and you've got the link back to the top. So this will only apply to the Oregon v3 replicant pages.
I think your concern, it sounds like your concern is this going to replace other layouts? And the answer is no.
Okay.
It will only replace those now called replicant pages.
Okay, thank you.
Anything that's a standard, anything that's a free form, anything that's a home page will not be affected at all.
I get the question. And if you want to, if you're curious, when you go in and look at the Pages document library, it'll tell you over here in this page layout column which layout it's using. It's only these that are labeled Oregon v3 that this is going to affect. Sorry, I didn't understand the question. Sorry about that.
Thank you.
Oh, thank you. So, any other questions? Okay, then, I think that probably wraps it up for us here. Thank you for putting up with me. I'm not the best public speaker in the world, but I do love building this stuff for you. I really do. It makes me happy to make your life easier. And again, let us know if you have problems, and don't hesitate to call us if you need us. Thanks.